What up, everybody? How we all doing this weekend? I'm a little tired. Sorry if we ran a little late on the start. We're actually, I think, like 5 minutes late or something. I had to get everything all together at the last second. It was a super busy day. How we all doing? For anyone who's new to this, my name is Protoman. This is the Transformer Slag Saturday night podcast live stream. Been doing this for a while now. People come in, they hang out, we super chat, we do our thing. We try to top out over 100 to 150 people hanging out with us, and we enjoy ourselves. How we all doing? So, it's been a busy week in Transformers. There was a lot of news, a lot of crazy news because of certain April Fools. But let's jump into that. Then we'll do some super chat, and we'll talk about everything. And I'll even explain also, there's certain, what I got this week is related to why we ran late today. So we'll jump into the first piece of news. And of course, the first piece of news, we all know, it's the biggest piece of news this week. It's the craziest piece of news. Yeah, it's the Cap Bravo t-shirt. Everyone's noticing that. And it's that of the Titan class Black Zarak. This is some big news. I'll be honest with you. When I first saw this, I thought it was April Fool's. I legitimately thought it was an early April Fool's joke. Like someone was putting together an April Fool's joke and it got out like 2 days early. Or maybe like 1 day early, you know, East Coast time or something. I don't know. It was, it was unexpected to say the least. I posted some images here also to kind of explain some homages and stuff that we could be expecting with the figure that has been mentioned officially by Hasbro or any of their press releases thus far about this. So the eye patch that's on the smaller robot, I guess we'll just call it Zarak or Lord Zarak or Mega Zarak, or Scorponok as he was called even in the Japanese version, the smaller one. That's kind of an homage to his Transformers Zone iteration that had an eye patch. So it's kind of a throwback to that. Keep in mind that the smaller head version of Black Zarak was not featured in the Master Force cartoon anime. So they're kind of just making stuff up as they go along for this one. The same thing, the scar on his chest, I'm assuming, is when Devil Z, I guess, infected him. I don't want to spoil too much. I really suggest that you go watch Super God Master Force. It's a Transformer series that's well over 25 years old now. Even more than that, actually. Almost 30 years old now. So I heavily suggest you go watch it. Really good stuff. And also what I'm curious, if you look at the bottom left, he also had a secret mode called his Hydra mode. Or I think it was called Daduke or something in Japanese. And people have already been messing with their Scorponok from Titan's Return to try to... Not Titan's Return, to Titan Class. To try to mimic it. And it looks like it could be done. It's not too hard, really, to be honest. So, pretty hype stuff. Again, I'm really excited about it. I'm going to try to find a way to get it. Obviously, I have other venues in order to get it, as opposed to the traditional Hasbro Pulse route. Thank goodness this isn't only Hasbro Pulse. Otherwise, I would be in quite the pickle, so to speak. But this is awesome. It's really great. Kind of makes me wish now that they kind of revisit Grand Maximus again, and maybe try to do a second run of it and include the Pretender shell that was originally absent with the original Black Zarak, with the original Grand Maximus. For all those people who knew, that went up for pre-orders. They said if it reached 3,000 pre-orders in Japan, we will include a little brand new Wave Rider Pretender shell, but recolored as Grand from the Grand Maximus connection. Anyone who's not familiar with that, go watch the Master Force TV series. Really good stuff, and you'll understand what's going on. But either way, this is really good. Brings up a whole bunch of conversations. I heavily suggest if you want to like deep dive into that, go check out my segment about it. After the segment, there's 2 videos that I did. I did one talking about the future of Titan Class, and this one too. And we kind of like really peel the onion back on what's going on with the Titan Class and what could be the future for that price point, because Hasbro has kind of been a little weird with it. And just check out that segment and you'll get to know. Next, let's talk about some Transformer licensing, and it is that of MU models, MU models. and they're 3D Transformer metal kits. Now, a while back, there was a company called Metal Earth that did a whole bunch of Transformer metal model kits. These were more static model kits. They weren't articulated. They were monocolored. They were pretty tiny. And some people were pretty frustrated with them because they were pretty difficult to assemble. Moo model kits have come around. These are slightly more expensive than the Metal Earth ones. These ones range between $54. Some of them are $44. Some of them are the really tiny ones, like $14. But they're full color. They're much larger. And they're articulated. So you actually kind of are building something of that manner. That's pretty cool in that of almost like a metal Gundam, which is pretty cool. I'm really digging that Star Saber. That Star Saber using that IDW design, really cool with the armor and everything. Almost kind of is like a fusion of G1 Star Saber, the IDW Star Saber, and a little bit of Wing Saber from Superlink / Energon. I like a lot what's going on there. And oddly enough, he's the cheaper one of the G1 guys. And I say the G1 guys here because you do get G1 Optimus, you get G1 Soundwave, you get the cassette bots on the side are $14.99. You have the crazy Star Saber one here, which oddly is cheaper. And then, of course, they have Movie. And the Movie ones here also show how the articulation works. So you have, obviously, Movie Optimus Prime. I believe this is based off the Age of Extinction one, the Last Night design, I believe, could be, and the Bumblebee too. Really cool stuff. And also you could buy on the side the official Moo model kit helpers, which are tweezers and all kinds of stuff like that. I built the Metal Earth ones many years ago. I want to say 2-3 years ago. And they were pretty difficult. And this has come from a guy who's built Gundam model kits for quite a few years, even the master grades and the perfect grades and stuff. And I mean, just to compare, so like, you know, this is what we have coming soon. And this is what the Metal Earth ones were, which were pretty static. These were all the designs you had. You had Optimus, Bumblebee, Soundwave, Megatron, and then a gold Bumblebee. I got the Soundwave because it also came with a little laser beak, and I thought that was cute. And I got the gold Bumblebee because it was like, ooh, it's the gold edition. I thought, wow, something that's actually color from Metal Earth for once, because usually Metal Earth stuff is unfortunately pretty bland in the sense that everything's done in that silvery gray. They do like also a bunch of pop culture stuff like Batmobiles and everything like that. I even picked up they did a locomotive train. It kind of reminded me of Astro Train. Thought it would be kind of cool. But I have 2 of them. They're okay. So I think these ones are going to be pretty cool. Again, that Star Saber one's really speaking to me. It looks really cool. But what's good about that is that tells me that Star Saber as a trademark, and it's trademarked as Star Saber, has happened. So who knows what the future might bring for that, because there's been a lot of rumors of a future Star Saber toy. Not to mention with all the rumors of the word victory appearing in the background of this guy here. Supposedly the word victory was seen in the background of some of his images, written in ancient Cybertronian, so who knows what that's teasing to. But anyways, check them out. Really cool stuff. Moo model kits. I believe they're on pre-order right now on, I want to say TF Source and BBTS has it pre-ordered right now for more or less these prices. Check it out. Really cool. I dig them. They look nice. And again, I like building model kits and stuff like that. It's that mechanic in me just enjoys that kind of stuff. Let's go to some technically third-party news, technically 3D printed news. A couple of weeks ago, I talked about how Unicron is literally like a 2-in-1 kind of kit thing. And I've been really excited about the fact because I was always kind of in this situation where I didn't know. I only got one of them. I wasn't one of those guys that got 2 to flip one. I just got the one. And when I got the one, I came to this thing where it's like, man, do I want to have it in planet mode? Planet mode looks really cool. But at the same time, like that robot mode is big and imposing. How could I not have it in the robot mode? I didn't know what to do. I was just at this, and then I made a call out saying like, hey, third-party guys, upgrade kit guys, someone's got to do something. Someone's got to do something. There is a market here. There is a hole that could be filled because there's a lot of dudes that spent a lot of money on this and probably would not mind spending an extra $20 to $30 to be able to have 2 toys in one in their display. Because again, this image showed here that, with a little bit of shell removing, you could do that. And, some people are like, oh, why would you want to do that? It's like, well, after you get your fun transforming Unicron a few times after, 20, 30 minutes, That could be that. So, a little group of people that have done some amazing stuff by the names of Mikey and Louie. They have on the Cult 3D website, they pretty much posted their 3D printed concept for a Unicron stand for just the Hollow Unicron if you want to have just the separate Unicron. And that's pretty cool. And so already there's someone who has stepped up to kind of give people that option. And what's cool about this, because it's on Cult 3D, the files in order to 3D print this at home are accessible and they are out there. And actually, I believe Mikey from this is here in the chat. I believe so. Say hi to everyone, Mikey. So essentially, what's cool about this is that it gives you an opportunity to now have your Unicron work with the stand, because for people that are not aware, when you pretty much gut that Unicron of the robot mode, the stand has nothing to plug into with the hollow, I guess we'll call it shells here. And man, like that's really cool. I dig that a lot. I'm really excited about that. According to what they told me, they're also working on some rings. So when you get some rings on this, you get the insert piece and everything like that. That's really exciting. It shows that we could be able to do that, and it'll be so cool to have on display, to have both of those modes on display. It's exciting to say the least, especially considering that how expensive this figure is going to be, and how many people, like, you know, especially people who didn't pick up one, which those people I sympathize with especially, and are buying them now for 700, 800, 900, 1,000. They're going to be in the same situation as me. I only got one. I want to have both modes on display. You know, it's going to cost me some money. And it's also one of the things that to have one or the other on display is also a lot of ingenuity and work. And while, you know, I don't mind transforming my Transformers, but something like this is a piece, is a display. And I don't know, man. I just want to just enjoy it. And it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. So I'm really looking forward to Mikey and Louie's work. Again, I'm going to post the link to their download in the replay of this segment. And I think also later this week, I'm going to do a separate segment talking about this. So if you got anyone who's not seeing the stream, although if you're not seeing the stream, you wouldn't be hearing my voice here. But I'll post this. I'm going to do a separate segment talking more about this, because I know this is going to appeal to a very specific audience of people that would really appreciate this, because they want to have both. And I don't blame them. So definitely check that out. Again, we're going to talk more about it in the future. And when I get mine, I'll definitely show you guys and give some updates on it from that. And you can bug Mikey here in the chat. She could probably give you some more info too. She's a nice gal. Next up, let's talk about April Fools. Man. Okay, so first up, I posted this. And I posted it on different parts of my social media. Obviously, I posted it on my Twitter account. I posted it on my Instagram and everything. And some people still thought this was real, even though I said it was fake, even though I put hashtag April Fools. So I just want to point out, guys, who somehow missed this and they only maybe follow one of my forms of social media. This isn't real. This was something from 2013, more than 8 years ago, from TV Coon magazine. They just did an April Fool's joke of a Pokemon rat trap. There is actually a yellow rat trap officially by Takara, which was the Kabaya kit shown on the bottom right there. So it's a yellow rat trap. So if you want to paint in the eyes, and actually I think the eyes are already black, but if you want to paint in the ears and maybe put some red cheeks on it, you could kind of get your rat trap there. It's a little model kit. Probably will run you about 800 yen if you could find it in the secondary market. But otherwise, it's not real, guys. Just wanted to point that out. Every time I do April Fool's things, and I even say it's April Fool's, people still run with it. And before I know it, I find it all over social media. People going, oh, man, there's going to be this crazy crossover. And it's me going like, man. Either way. Speaking of April Fools, yeah. So this image was all over the place. This image was all over the place on every possible website. People yelling at each other. So much drama. It's fake. It's real. It's fake because of this. It's real because of that. And it was just me going like, yo, 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 yo. I don't see people using Studio Series molds repainted most of the time anyways, let alone them crossing over into stuff of mainline generations as opposed to stuff that's really under the Studio Series banner. Not to mention, if DevCon was going to get a toy, I would really like it to be something as show accurate as possible, not just yet another Scourge repaint. Because, man, like, I wouldn't want that. But, good news, everybody. Look at this. Look at that. Oh, I just messed up there. Look at that. So, it was essentially just someone took an old image. These were early leaked images from factories a while back, and people just kind of ran with them. Photoshop, and the rest is history. It's not real. Let's just put it that way. That's good news in my opinion. I feel, number one, I feel we're going to get a clampdown anyways at some point. Doesn't make a difference. Second of all, I think that if we do get a DevCon, I want him to be an original mold from the top down. I want him to be 100% something brand new that really matches how he looked in that episode of The Gambler from Generation 1. Really add to his look and design. He's a really cool character. Again, he was only in one episode, makes cameos in different kinds of fiction of comics, but otherwise very limited character. But to me, he's kind of, hey, he's a bounty hunter. He's the Boba Fett of Transformers. So that means he's going to be cool from the get-go. Let's get a sip of water in there. But yeah, so this one isn't real, but I mean, at the same time, never say never when it comes to Transformers, because you never know. But see, again, I would love, like, look at his alt mode. Like, it's something that could be done with the modern engineering that we have today. And I like that, this isn't real, because I don't want him to have the Scourge cape and stuff and all that silliness. By being in the limitations of a Scourge mold, there's the kibble and the leftovers of it, where I just want to have something that looks like the Fleero Deary design shown there. So, great episode, great stuff, but at the end of the day, is a fake, yo. So, that is that. Next up, Flame Toys. They finally showed us our full color images, final product, ready to go, of their Farai model, Flame Toys, Windblade. And she looks spectacular. I don't care what anyone says. I love this thing. Drama be darned. Everyone hating. I've always been saying, if you're this angry at a model kit, I don't think the model kit is the problem. I think you gotta look in the mirror and find the problem. Don't hate the player, hate the game. So I love this thing. I think she looks great. She's gonna have 2 sets of hands, her weapon, 50 points of articulation. What else was said? I actually have the whole report here on my phone. One moment. So it's gonna be 16 centimeters tall, which is about 6.5 inches. So a little bit taller than your average, I guess, Marvel Legends or Star Wars Black Series, or I guess we might as well just say it now, Transformers RED. 50 points of articulation. 50 points of articulation, like double jointed all over the place. Again, 2 sets of hands, open hand, closed hands. Her weapons, she's, according to here, it's a modernized shape optimized Windblade version. That's their exact term for it. And according to what they say here, if you pre-order now, you're actually going to save $5 off. The original MSRP is going to be $50, but if you pre-order now, it'll be $45. $45. That's insanely cheap. I buy Gundam model kits all the time. I don't know why it's this cheap, because I built some of their other Farai model kits, and they're pretty good quality, so I'm very excited about this. She looks amazing. She looks really, really good. I like what they're doing here. Pre-order is now. The estimated arrival date is going to be November of 2021. So this is some really good stuff. Digging it a lot. All the other kits, too, are also up for pre-order with similar kind of discounts and situations. But this is great. I'm super excited about it. I mean, she looks spectacular. I've been feeling for the past while now that Windblade is really starting to be the Wonder Woman of the Transformer brand, where it's like, there's just that female representative, much like how Wonder Woman is for the Transformer brand. And well, Marvel, that kind of has been changing from decade to decade. Sometimes it's She-Hulk, sometimes it's Spider-Woman, sometimes it's Captain Marvel. Really depends. But I mean, the consistency, at least in the case of DC, and something like this beautiful figure works out great. It's going to sell well. It's made for the Japanese market, be damned. And look, anyone here who loves it is going to love it. And that's that. I dig it. What could I say? And last but not least, guys, I want to just give you guys a reminder also in relation to everything that we've talked about today on an official capacity. Hasbro Pulse Fan Fest is Friday, April 9th. April 9th. It's this Friday coming up. We're only a couple days away from the Hasbro Pulse Fan Fest, Friday, April 9th. There's going to be a whole bunch of Hasbro Pulse Premium exclusives. So if you have a premium account, you better get on that. If you don't, like a dumbass like me, it can't be helped, but that's just the way it is. So definitely check that out. Get ready for that. Don't forget the date. I'm just posting this just because we got to remind everyone. And you know what's going to happen. Anything that you miss out on this, definitely the following day on the stream, we'll talk about it. It's going to be a lot of stuff. It's going to be a busy news day. It's definitely going to be a busy news day for me on Friday. That's to say the least. To say the least. But, yeah, going to be pretty nuts. Last but not least, also, I want to talk about Symbiote Studios and all their crazy stuff. Of course, I'm wearing the Cat Bravo t-shirt that they sent me and the pins. And, of course, Starscream's chilling in the back over there of their plush series. I have Grimlock here. Big Grimlock again. Series 2. Let me just open that up. Series 2 has launched. Wave 2 of their plush series of Grimlock and Starscream. Let me just open these up here, too. So you can pick them up. These are their 2 new editions. They look really cool. Wave 2 is now out. Awesome stuff. People are really excited about these. They've been selling amazingly well. I hope they do not sell out because I want everyone to be able to get these because they're a lot bigger than people think they are. These things are pretty large and in charge. And also, if you also like what Symbiote Studios does, they do a lot of other Hasbro and video game related kind of properties. Like here, their Man-Eater one. I love that one. I got the shark. I love the shark. I was wearing the shark shirt just last week. And it's still pretty cool. Still pretty cool. But again, Symbiote Studios. Check out all their stuff. SymbioteStudios.com. Link is in the description also. And of course, they do the G.I. Joes. They do the Shovel Knights and everything. They have cool pins. Everything of that matter, you're going to hear about them before the day is done. And the body is won. So. That's it more or less for the news. Last thing also, before we get into Super Chats, I want to talk about what I got this week. And also why the stream was kind of late. When we were doing, getting ready for the stream and doing the slides, or I was doing these around like 3 o'clock today, I got a phone call from a friend, and he was just unloading a whole bunch of stuff. The weather's getting warmer around here, so he's thinking of, even in this crazy environment of the world we live in today with the big V, he wants to run a garage sale. But before he does that, he wanted me to go through a bunch of boxes of toys and stuff he has. Now, granted, he doesn't really have Transformers. He's not a Transformer guy, but he has a whole bunch of late 90s, early 2000s kind of stuff, and I was kind of curious. And he's like, oh, bro, just take what you want, and, just give me $5 for whatever, just give me some money, And most of his stuff, in all honesty, like, I love Dragon Ball, but it's like, I have the nice SH figure arts and stuff. Like, I'm not going to take that stuff off of him. He could sell it at a garage sale and some kid could enjoy that. But the one thing he had that caught my attention, for people who know Bionicles, he had the Megatron himself of the Bionicle world, if you will. Or maybe Galvatron. He has Makuta Pterodex, and it's a absolutely 100% complete one, which, man, this thing is pretty tough to get today. I believe this was 2004 it came out, and it's one of the few iterations of this character because they never really made a good version of him. So I mean, this is probably the version of Makuta. So that's pretty cool from Bionicles. Again, I like Bionicles because it has a lot of similarities to Transformers, and I never got the Makuta figure back then. That had to be like 2004-ish. That was like Energon era and stuff, and man, I love that thing. And when I saw it, I was like, I want this. Really, really cool. I am super, 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 super hyped. Nothing broken on him. Nothing. I was surprised when he had it in the box with all his other stuff. Like, I think just the weapon wasn't attached and both the arms weren't attached, and everything else was fine. I mean, it still has the little gimmick there where he slashes and everything. I'm shocked. Complete too. Complete, which I was like, wow, that's really cool. Really, really cool. Oh, there you go. This is 2003. I don't know my years by years or something. Yeah, it would make 2000. It makes sense because I think that was when the first movie came out, which was 2003. Makes sense. Either way. Either way. So that was my cool purchase. No Transformer stuff, unfortunately. Unfortunately, no Transformers stuff. It's been a dry week, so to speak, when it comes to Transformers, but still pretty hype. Still pretty hype, fine. Either way. But, oh, Michael Dorn, yeah, well, that's spoilers. Spoilers. For some people that haven't watched the crazy lore that is Bionicles. I actually have a Tahoe nearby here. I'm all the way in the back. Either way, guys. Oh, no, I didn't give him a $5. I gave him, I think, like $15 for it. Because I was helping him out with a bunch of stuff, too. I was helping him move. And, man, there was a lot of just, like, if you were, like, a late 90s, early 2000s kid, you probably would have liked a lot of... He had, again, a lot of Pokemon PVCs and stuff like that. But, you know, I like Pokemon, but it's stuff I don't need. You know what I mean? I like Gengar, and so I just kind of get Gengar stuff, and that's it. Like, he had the little PVCs by Hasbro. He had the little, like, it's like the Pokeball that you throw it, and then it touches the figure and it closes on them. Like, he had those. I think those were done by Tomy, excuse me. I think those were Japanese specifically. But there was a lot of cool stuff. There was a lot of cool stuff there. Just, you know, it was mostly Dragon Ball, Pokemon, some Bionicle stuff. The other Bionicle stuff was all in pieces. Like, I think he had, Liwa or somebody. I couldn't make it out. My Bionicle knowledge, when it's loose and it's a whole bunch of pieces, is kind of limited. I kind of have to see it as a full thing. But either way, what do I think of Hero Factory? I never was, you know what? Hero Factory brought about a different shape to Bionicle stuff, but at the same time, you know, and then they used it on like the Star Wars stuff and everything with Lego. But I never really paid attention to the other stuff. I'm not a big Lego guy in general, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not really a big Lego person, but I'm a big model kit person, and I'm a big, you know, I'm a mechanic by trade. So stuff like Technic speaks a lot more to me. Like gears and stuff turning and everything like that, that was more interesting to me. One of my first ever Lego kits as a kid was a Lego Technic dirt bike. It was like the yellow one with the two big wheels and stuff, and I think I got that when I was like 8 years old or 9 years old or something. And I mean, that's always been me with Lego. I've never really been a big fan of with system. You know, I know that's like sacrilege to some people, but never really been a big fan of it in general. But like the Technic stuff, the Bionicle stuff, that speaks more to me because it has that like model kit kind of aesthetic that you build, but it's still kind of an action figure, but it also has like gears and stuff like that and turning mechanisms that you have to build. So I appreciate that more. But, man, I still have a lot of Lego, though, just because of collections I've bought throughout the years. So that's a whole other story. Proto Man, what do you think of the rest of the Beast Machines Dinobots? I think they are amazing. I still say to this day that the sleeper hit is Arcanus, I think is. I'm looking over there because I have the Telemocha version. It's the one that's that flying bird one. I think his name's Arcanus. That's the Japanese name. And I love that mold. That's easily the best one of the bunch. And he was released under the Dinobots for Beast Machines. And he reminds me of like Clint Eastwood's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Really, 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 really good mold. Really good mold. It has like the gun that could come down and up. And he has like the cloak. Really good mold. The other ones are not bad. I mean, you have like, what was it? Killer Punch, which was released as Tricenodon here. trying to think of a few others that were really good. But I mean, same thing. Like you have T-Rex. that's the staple. T-Rex is always the staple, but at the same time, it's a Megatron mold. So we've only enjoyed it like 50 times over in so many different other iterations. Man, I created a lot of Bionicle talk in the chat now. But either way, again, I think that's probably one of the sleeper hits, though, that Arcanus mold. Really good. Really, really, really good. Protoman, what do you expect from the event next week? Well, in all honesty, like, I think that we're probably going to just more get the official announcement of, like, Galvatron more than anything. I think Galvatron is going to be the centerpiece of it. I think that they're going to focus mostly on him because he's that leader class. They're probably going to talk about Rodimus too, finally, in some official capacity, because everything that we've gotten on Rodimus has come from Japanese sources, magazines and pre-order websites. Hasbro has still not yet said anything about Rodimus. The closest we got to that was John Warden talking about the magazine scans, and he's not even with the Transformer brand anymore. So it's kind of a different situation we're going on with. But I think maybe we'll get... I want to believe they're going to talk about the Titan class. And I'm not talking about Black Zarak. I'm talking about the ship, Mr. Ark. So I hope they'll talk about it. But it's hard to say. I know that there's going to be something with IDW, and IDW is going to be doing some pack-in comic books with whatever the next wave of stuff is going to be. So that's pretty cool. They're probably seeing that, hey, the Beast Wars comic book's doing really well. They're doing a Beast Wars aesthetic kind of toy line. Why don't we kind of have some kind of synergy, much like they did with the Thrilling 30 and the End of Generations in like 2012, I guess, where they were packing in comic books in relation to characters with variant covers, and people would dig that. People would dig that a lot. I know I would. So, I mean, and Casey Collar is going to be involved, who's easily one of the best artists with IDW Comics. He did Spotlight Blur, which is one of my favorite books, and he did also the Ironhide miniseries, the 4-issue, which I like his style. It's very clean, very well done. Him, Alex Milne, they have very good, clean style when it comes to that. But it would be interesting to see what they're going to do. Again, it's hard to say what they're going to announce because they also have the San Diego Comic-Con like digital show that's coming up not too long after that in July. So do they want to save some announcements for that too? Because that also gets a lot of big press. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. I mean, look, at the end of the day, they could have just dropped all the news many, many months ago, but we've been slowly drip-dropped everything to keep people interested in Transformers and the consciousness of what's been going on with everything. So we'll see what happens. It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Every single one we've gotten, we usually get 2 or 3 decent releases, or like reveals. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping, again, I really hope that we get a look at the Ark, but part of me feels they might still want to hold back on that. They probably will. By the way, guys, if I miss any questions, it's just because everything's super fast, so you'll just have to repeat it over and over, or just do super chats. Super chats help the podcast, and it gets priority over everything because it gets right in my face. It literally just pops up on the screen and gets right in my face. Dear Proto, would you like to see Omega Supreme repainted to Dark Guardian? I'd like to see him as the Omega Sentinel, a.k.a. the Guardians. I'm surprised. Like, I talked about it on my segment about the future of Titans. I feel that probably all of those are going to see release at some point. Like Metro Titan from Metroplex, Brave Maximus from Grand Maximus, G2 Devastator from Devastator, Gigastorm from Trypticon, and of course Omega Sentinel from Omega Supreme. Unfortunately the Predaking is going to be the difficult repaint in terms of like what do you do with it that would be viable for people that want to buy. I mean, you could obviously make up stuff and go, oh, shattered glass and this and that, but I mean, like something that people would legitimately want to drop that kind of Titan class money for. that's iconic. So Predaking, unfortunately, is the odd man out in all of this. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It's really tough to figure out right now. It really is. Dear Proto, how would you like to write Spotlight Slugfest? Talk about how his grand moment is probably one of the best animated Transformer episodes in Call of the Primitives, and then nothing ever again. We have a super chat question from Eastman777, because Eastman is awesome. Thanks for the news. Question, why doesn't Hasbro reissue expensive toys, i.e. Siege, Skywarp, and what Transformers did you play with the most as a kid? Ooh, I like these questions. First one I'm going to answer is, so why don't those reissues happen? Primarily that's the fault of actually the distributor and that of the stores. So it's really difficult to get Walmart and Target to carry stock again of old stock. Now, I know that there is a demand for stuff like a Siege, Skywarp, and that, what was it, the Decepticon Attack Pack or whatever they called it, that 3-pack? They want that stuff in the secondary market, but tell Hasbro to tell Walmart that, and Walmart would be like, we don't want old product, we want new product. I mean, the whole reason why for years, you would have Unicron Trilogy, and then you'd have Unicron Battles. You'd have Energon, and then you would have, Power Links Battles. You'd have Cybertron, then you'd have Primus Unleashed. They'd always do these mid-term refreshes of the name, because they know that Walmart, or at the time Toys R Us, would be like, no, we want new products, new names. I mean, they technically could reissue Skywarp in another iteration in a different kind of packaging. They could do that, but that's if they feel that there's a market for it. Look, we had Classic Starscream in 2006, and then they took that mold and they repainted and released it again in the Universe 2.0 line in a different color scheme. So if they maybe reissued that Siege mold and it had some kind of place as a Voyager on the shelf and maybe gave it slightly different paint tweaks, but it's still Skywarp, maybe that's the way they could do it. It's kind of difficult to get retailers to take old product. They're very stingy with that. And I mean, the second something's 2 months old, they're already trying to get rid of it. It's brutal. It really is. And that's always been a big problem with Hasbro, and why they keep renaming their lines, and why we went Generation 1 for 8 years, and it was called Transformers. That's it. Maybe they put a Pretender logo on the bottom at one point, or Action Masters, but it was always Transformers. Now it's they got to change the name every 3 years. Otherwise, they freak out and they don't want to carry your product. They got to, it's got to be Transformers Beast Machines. It's got to be Transformers Robots in Disguise. They got to change it up always. Otherwise, the distributors, the retailers, the SKUs have to be changed. It's so complicated that understanding how to do just a simple reissue when you're involving retail is a whole other thing. If Hasbro Pulse decides to just take some dead stock of Siege, Skywarps, and put it on the website, that's a different story. But that could potentially just be the future of product in general, where you could kind of just control that in the same way that an old masterpiece could get a reissue after 4 years, just because there's a demand for it. Looking at Sideswipe is one example, or what was another one that got reissued? I'm trying to remember. Another one also got reissued. I think it was Grimlock. Yeah, it was Grimlock. Grimlock got reissued after there was a huge demand for him. Your second question was, what Transformer did you play with the most as a kid? You guys have probably seen this in the past. So this is all my Transformer toys that I had between the ages of 3 up until 12. Everything was in here. So the one that I played with the most probably would have to been Blaster, and my Hot Rod Surrogate, which was, look how yellowed he is. Good Lord. Oh my goodness. Or my Hot Rod Surrogate here of Hyperdrive. And I would have to say Hyperdrive probably saw the most action out of all of them. I always keep it under my desk. Keeps me humble. Reminds me of later on what would go crazy. But probably Blaster. The only other one I could think of really offhand that I played with a lot and like just transformed like crazy was Transmetal Cheetor. Transmetal Cheetor, my goodness, when I got that figure, I think I was 14 at the time. It stayed on my desk and like my computer desk. Imagine I had the internet back in '98, and I must have transformed that thing 100 times. Like no joke, 200 times, 400 times. Like I loved that mold to death. Like that was just, I thought that was just the coolest thing, that one. And the original Cheetor too, but specifically that one. So I'd have to go with those three, definitely, for sure. We got another super chat question from the Molly J. By the way, I just want to say thank you, Eastman777. Good questions, man. The Molly J wants to know the official panel description for FanFist says they're doing Kingdom Wave 3. So we're going to probably learn about, I guess, Shadow Panther. Who else was rumored on Kingdom Wave 3? Shadow Panther, Scorponok, Waspinator, Tarantulas. What else was rumored on that? Pipes. What else? There's a lot of stuff that was rumored on that. So we're going to probably see that. The Commander class, which is Roddy. And the Titan class, which is the Ark. So there you go. And plus a weaponizer pack. Especially in this day and age of fossilizers for a weaponizer pack. Maybe it's going to be something similar to the Centaurian. Maybe that's how we'll get the other Unicron ships. That's a possibility too. Anyways, thank you, Molly, for the information. Helps out always. Can't have everything in this small head. Alice Trapped with the super chat wants to know, thank you, Alice. What if I told you that Studio Series Hot Rod is less plastic than your average deluxe, yet still sold as a Voyager? Well, I'll tell you this right now. I'm still surprised that they pulled that off. I mean, they tried to give a little bit of extras, but at the end of the day, look, you won't. I'll be the last person to tell you that Hasbro is overcharging on a lot of their product. They really are. They really, 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 really are in a lot of ways. But I think it's just. I've talked about this in the past, and I think when I had Aaron on the podcast even, where, they used to make this kind of money back in like the Unicron trilogy. Oh, we make X amount of money down here. When the movies came out and then around 2009 where it really peaked, the money moved up to here. And they got very comfortable with that kind of money. And Transformers is their number one brand outside of what they do at Wizards of the Coast. But in their toy brands, Transformers numero uno, And they got used to that. And then Dark of the Moon did this. Now, keep in mind, this was Unicron trilogy, which they still considered a success back in 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006. But Dark of the Moon did this, and they went, that's a failure. And Age of Extinction did this, and they went, that's a failure. So they want to keep making this kind of profit, even though it's now in this area. So what do? Thin out the plastic, make the figures lighter, change the factories. You don't hire copywriters to do tech spec bios and stuff like that. Have one in-house artist that does everything. There's a lot of different ways that they cut costs. Look, the talk about like, oh, we're going to move everything to boxes instead of bubbles. Half of it is environmental. The other half of it is we save money. So, get used to trying to find, not the best example, but get used to like this one day maybe being the future of how you get your Transformer product, because that is a lot more effective for them in a lot of ways. But, I mean, I feel that Transformer product has been overpriced for quite a while now. I always have I have a little spreadsheet that shows like the prices, how they change throughout the years. And 2009 was a big changing point. They got cocky. They got cocky, kid. They got cocky. And they never looked back, unfortunately. Where are we at here? Hey, Proto. Why is Aaron Archer so well known among the Transformer fandom and even Hasbro? Aaron was the most engaging. I found that of all the people that have worked with Hasbro, Aaron was the one that during conventions, he was the guy at the bar. I don't even know if I should tell this story. I remember, I'm not going to say who the person I was talking to because he's a professional individual and maybe his name might not want to be said. But I was walking with an individual, and this was at TF Con one of the years, and we were looking at the bar, and there was like if this was like the bar, right? Like this is like this is the entrance to the bar, and this is like the back of the bar, and it's like a dead end. It's like there was Aaron Archer in a corner, and he was just surrounded by fans, asking him questions. And I remember the person I was with going like, "Wow, Aaron's very patient," And I said to him like, you know what, he lives it, so maybe he enjoys like shooting off those questions and stuff like that. So he's always been very open to the fandom, always willing to answer questions and stuff. He loves talking about the stuff that he worked on. They're his babies. So that's why where a lot of other people that have worked in the Transformer world, sometimes to them it's just a job. And when it's a job, when they punch out, they don't want to have to continue it being a job. And in a world of social media and conventions where you kind of want to just go to your room or get a hamburger, I don't know. Aaron's always been very friendly with that. And he's been very open about all the stuff that he's worked with and different brands and stuff. Look for more stuff from him in the future. Between me and him, we have a lot of stuff planned. Let's put it that way. Where are we at here? We got a super chat from Sean McTaggart. How you doing, Sean? Nice seeing your name again, brother. What do you think the super secret upcoming limited comic series is? That one I don't know. That was the video that, what's his name? Man, I sat next to him for like a whole weekend. Oh my God, what's his name? Oh, everyone blends to me now at this point. Anyways, it's sad. Larry, who is it that I sat next to for a whole weekend that wasn't James Roberts that one week? I don't remember. Anyways, yeah, he did a video. He was talking about, how there's some kind of new project that they're working on. I think, and I mentioned this very quickly, that I think that it's going to be something similar to what Hasbro was doing during Thrilling 30. They're going to do a limited edition covers of a certain comic book that'll then correspond with whatever the product is after, let's say, Kingdom. So if, let's say they continue and they do, Unicron Trilogy, it'll be Unicron Trilogy kind of comic books to go with that. If it's more Beast Wars stuff. But we shall see. It's something that we're going to find out probably this weekend. IDW said they will be doing announcements during the Fan Fest on the 9th. So we will find out then. TFG1 Mike is here? Oh, I didn't know Mike was here. Sorry if I don't see everyone's names. Everything's popping up with the chat here. That's why I always say tell people to super chat. You have a better chance of being seen. Makes you stick out. Protoman, what are your thoughts on furry Transformers? Are you referring to flocked Transformers that have furry skin? Or are you referring to... Oh, John Barber. There we go. Jeez. I sat next to John Barber for 3 days straight. He was a nervous guy. Maybe he was nervous around me. I don't know. I'd be nervous around me. But yeah, John Barber. There you go. I'm so sorry I forgot your name, John. But anyways, what was I talking about? Oh, the furry question. I don't know. I'm not a furry. I can't tell you. I remember many years ago, my sister went on a chat group called Furcadia back in the day. I don't know if Annie's in the chat. She was at one point, I saw. But that was a long time ago. Let's say like 25 years ago. But I ain't a furry. Sorry, guys. No yiffin' for me. Hey, Proto, I was wondering if you know what Studio Series did with the old G1 stop-motion toy commercials for Headmasters, Master Force, and Victory. I always found those really charming. I think those are incredible, those commercials. I really like the Star Saber one. I mean, I saw that commercial long before I got the Star Saber figure. I got the Star Saber figure, I want to say 1998, 1999. I'd have to look at old photos. And I probably saw that commercial from rockman666.com, a website that doesn't exist anymore. He used to... Oh, there's Annie. Sister's in the chat. What do you call it? Like, I ain't a furry, Proto Man. Yeah, you could quote me on that. You could make a clip of that one. There's TFG1 Mike. Sorry, guys, if I don't see your names in the chat, because so many things just keep popping up quickly with everyone typing. So if I miss a name or if I don't see someone here, like Aaron Archer might be in here too. I don't know who's here anymore. I know there's 2 Hasbro people in here right now, so I don't want to point them out. But either way, point is that what was I talking about? Oh yeah. When it comes to all that stuff, it's just those commercials really, like, like how, like, it says, like, toys don't move on their own. They didn't have that with the Japanese commercials, so they looked way better than how they actually are in person. Like, just watch that Star Saber commercial. That commercial is amazing. It's like Star Saber Hashin, brain set, and it's like, it's like, yeah, okay, that toy does not do that. Proto, why Dark Scorponok? Why not Dark Scorponok? I got Dark Scorponok right there. I got the original Dark Scorponok. There he is. I can't see him because he's getting blocked by my microphone, but I like Dark Scorponok. He was the closest thing to a non-breakable Mega Zarak figure for the longest time. We got another super chat question from Alice Trapped. Thank you, Alice, again for the super chat question. What do you think of female IDW Tarn being made from Mastermind Creations? I think that's really cool, in all honesty. Honestly, Alice, I think that was supposed to be a convention exclusive. I can't confirm that, but I honest to God think that was supposed to be a TFCon exclusive. Because that vibe, like that kind of idea, is completely stuff that would have been exclusives. 100%. 100%. But that's awesome. That's awesome. And if it would have been a TFCon exclusive, I would have written the bio. And it would have been pretty cool. But I mean, that's really awesome. And there's pre-orders coming up soon from MMC. So I mean, I think it looks great. I dig that kind of stuff. Well, when you gender swap certain characters, and it's not like, oh, this is going to be the character forever, but when you do, like, for fun, like Megatronia, or Mega Empress, when you do those fun gender swap things and it's done for tongue-in-cheek, I dig it. It's fun. It's cool. As long as it's not, like, offsetting the whole continuity and, Prime's a girl now, It's fun to do that kind of stuff once in a while. Even if they make figures, I dig it. It's cool. It gives people, it's like a what if continuity kind of thing. What is it? It's like, what is it called? Rule 66? Rule 60 something? I don't know what the rule is. No, Rule 66 I think is for naughty material. But it's Rule 60 something, which is like for gender swap art or something. I don't know. I dig it. I think it's cool. I like it. Am I going to pick it up? I don't know about that. If it was a TFCon exclusive, I could have probably worked something out. But I think it's cool. I'm not too crazy about third-party stuff, but once in a while when they make something awesome, I'm always down for it. Hey, Proto, how many Transformer bear the name Crumple Zone? In other words, how many toys have the name that are them? Well, there's the original, and I think there was a mini-con, if I remember correctly. But I mean the original as in Mr. Crumple Zone right over there. From, technically, too, if you count Dark Crumple Zone, his repaint. Is Rule 69 that one? Okay, I don't know. But I think it's only 3 in total. I could be wrong on that. Maybe there's like a fan-made animated one or something that's probably on the wiki that now they consider canon. The wiki always makes weird stuff considered canon. If they only knew who originally wrote for Vector Sigma Says, they would not consider a lot of things canon. Anyways, but that's a whole other story that they'll never know. They'll never know. Where we at here? Where we at? Hey, Proto. Where did those display case customs made? Okay, so all my display cases are not custom made display cases. Essentially what it is I built outward. It's just a wall, some shelving pieces. I wish I could show you guys better, but some shelving pieces and sliding doors bought from hardware stores. And then I built them on slides. And then you got, like here, I could show you guys. Ooh, you can see my nice Shy Guy pajamas. But it's just sliding doors. Just simple sliding doors. I always tell people if you want to save money when you're doing your displays, instead of doing glass, just do really thick plexiglass. Does the same job. You know, you don't need glass. Same thing, all the shelving pieces that are clear, it's thick, it's really thick plexiglass. Look how thick that is. Look how thick it is. Look how thick it is. Look how thick it is. Driving people nuts today. But either way, you know, like it's plexiglass, sliding door frames, which you could buy extremely cheap from hardware stores, sliding door like frameage, the whole thing. Custom lighting, it's literally just fluorescent lighting. And then I built outward. That's all. It's very simple. It's very, very simple. And it protects the Transformers from dust and everything. And what I would suggest, this is another thing too. So if you look, it's hard to tell, but so this is modern stuff. It uses regular fluorescent light, which is called daylight, because you could buy different kinds of lights. But if you actually look at the G1 stuff, I wish I could get out of the way, it actually uses a different kind of lighting. It uses what's called museum lighting, which you could actually buy the bulbs. If you go to like hardware stores, it's museum, which is like it's a warmer kind of light, kind of orange a little bit. But what's good about them, it doesn't really come through in the camera too much, but what's good about those, man, I just messed up my camera like crazy. But what's good about them is it doesn't yellow the toys from long-term exposure. These will probably get affected by it, but I don't really care about, you know, toys made after 2002 and them yellowing and stuff. And most of them won't. Like, they don't suffer from that same kind of plastisol issue, like, let's say, Jetfire or some of the more vintage toys. But I use a special lighting for that too. So, long, short answer, more or less. If that helps a little bit. Proto, does Mega Emperors have the potential to go beyond the counterpart in Megatron's Western figure? Well, she was a Sakamoto creation. I bought that set because it was gorgeous and I love that toy. It's only if the West wants to use her one day. I wouldn't be surprised. Look, a lot of weird Japanese creations somehow always find their way to the Western market sooner or later. They just have to get retooled and retweaked to kind of work for that market. Japan is a very different industry from the Western industry in terms of like what is taboo and what isn't. So she's one of those characters that some people would consider taboo, which, I mean, whatever. I've been a big fan of anime my whole life, so I'm a little more sturdy to that kind of stuff, and I love it personally. That's just me. Hey, Proto, what factions are involved in the creation of the official convention-exclusive figures, such as trademarks and mold availability? So, that's actually a very good question. So, usually how it works, like I'll give an example, BotCon 2016 that I worked on. Usually how that works is BotCon or Fun Publication will approach Hasbro. And they'll go, hey, yo, what molds could we use? You know? Because they could technically give us molds that are right away brand new on the shelves. But usually what Hasbro wants to do, so they don't self-cannibalize themselves with what's on the shelves against what's a convention exclusive, they'll usually do stuff that's a year back. And then, of course, you could probably dig even deeper if you want to. What is available at the time? Then you mix that with, okay, here's what we could use. Is there anything clever we could do with it? And then you just kind of take it from there. You know, so all kinds of ideas. Like usually you have ideas in your head, and then you go, where, you know, are these molds available? Can we use them? And then you just kind of take it from there. In the case of like TFCon exclusives, it used to be, like I guess like pre-2012, it used to be companies would present us with ideas, and then we would go, hey, that's cool, hey, that's cool. Nowadays companies independently make the exclusives, and then they just sell them independently at their tables, and we kind of are not in control of that. So that's a whole other kind of animal. So I hope that kind of helps a little bit, but that's usually how it works, usually. But yeah, I hope that helps. Proto, would Mega Empress be considered Megatron to Alita 1's Optimus Prime? You know what? Like, I don't even consider Alita 1 the female Optimus Prime. I think she's just really her own thing. Like, I think that, like, one day they'll probably do like, I feel Mega Empress really is a female Megatron. Like, there's no if, and, or buts about it in terms of aesthetic, in terms of what the character's supposed to be. But Alita 1 really is kind of her own character, and Optimus Prime is kind of his own character, where I could easily see some kind of female, red and blue truck Optimus at some point. I could totally see that happening at some point, even in an unofficial capacity or a store exclusive or something. I mean, she's not a convoy. She's not Alita Convoy. I mean, her name means something similar, but at the same time, because Prime 1, it's there, but not quite. What are the origins of G1 decoys? Ooh, I would love to do a whole segment on that one. Keshigumus, as they are called in Japanese, or Japanese erasers. Man, I wish I could go upstairs and just bring you a whole bunch of them and show you. So, in Japanese culture, there's something called Keshigumu, which are little rubber eraser action figures. And the most popular ones that are known in the West, outside of, let's say, the decoys of Transformers, are those of Muscles. And they are ridiculously popular in Japan. And lo and behold, they make Keshigumus of every pop culture brand. There's Super Mario Keshigumus in the 80s. There was Legend of Zelda Keshigumus in the 80s. Ultraman, Power Rangers, like anything that was a popular brand in the 80s, there was Keshigumus of. And there was Keshigumu of Transformers. So there was a whole bunch of them. And then Hasbro saw what Takara was doing with the Keshigumus in Japan, and they're like, hey, do you mind if we bring these over? And instead of them being like, because Keshigumus are normally like all the colors of the rainbow, you could get green, blue, yellow, this, that. They just brought them over. It had the 2 different color schemes, and that was that. There actually is Keshigumus that go beyond just the ones that we got here in the West that were called decoys. We had stuff that were 87, 88. Like, I wish I could show you guys, but all the way in the corner over there is my Keshigumu collection of Japanese Keshigumus. It's kind of hard to see. I have a whole bunch of those. Whole bunch of them. Of Rodimus, and they did a whole bunch of other characters, of the Combiners, and they did box sets and stuff. So, there's a huge history with that, and it goes even beyond that of Transformers, because the Keshi kind of thing it still exists to this day in Japan, and it's still a huge thing. And a lot of characters that never got action figures, they chances are if they didn't get an action figure, they at least got a Keshi or a Keshigumu. So, hope that was a little bit of a interesting. I could do like a whole segment on the history of that, because I have no joke. In my video game room, I have like a bucket of Keshigumus from all kinds of different franchises. Everything. The first ever Mario figures were Keshigumus. Just to let you know, like a lot of stuff starts with that in a lot of ways. Where we at? Hey, Proto, what are your thoughts on Beast Wars Transmetal concept idea? Well, I love Beast Wars. I love the idea of, like, you have to understand from my perspective, like, when Transmetals came out, we didn't have G1 being a regular thing. We had Beast Wars, and we had to accept that Beasts and the organic look was going to be how the brand was going to be moving forward. And then when Transmetals came out, it's like, oh, we could kind of have this fusion of the two. We could have, like, Beast characters, like how the Dinobots looked, so they had a metallic look to it. Like, Cheetor kind of had that Ravage look to him. So, and ironically, how that would kind of go all full circle from a mold standpoint. People really dug that, and I really loved it. I love the idea of, like, them being triple changers. I love the idea of them, just pretty much having, like, that whole metallic vehicle kind of thing. So like stuff like Rat Trap, even though he was just a mess of flakes afterwards. But you know, is that Mitch Santona with a check mark? I have no idea what that means. That's the first time I'm seeing that. But yeah, I love that stuff. I love transmetals. Mitch Santona, hey Proto, love the show. What do you think of Hasbro releasing anything animated for the anniversary someday, or maybe some third-party stuff? Brother, let me tell you. If Bakon, I think I've talked about this on the past. I think I talked about it on Ultra Primal's channel. Ooh, I don't remember. But I know that I talked about it at some point, which was if Bakon would have had a 2017 year, the plan that I was going to push for was I really, really want an animated year. I really did. And I think I've talked about this on... I know that I did it on Ultra Primal's channel because we did like images and stuff, like mock-ups. And the plan was what I wanted to do, and this has always been my goal with Bakon, give people in the West molds that they weren't able to get in retail that were only available in the East. So like to give an example, the Air Razor Bakon mold in 2016 was using the Slipstream Legends mold that wasn't available in the West. You know, so I wanted to do stuff like that when you go into like even weird Japanese stuff. So when you get into what I would have done with an animated set, number one, this was always my thing, Hydra Dive Bumblebee, which was a unique mold only to the Japanese market of animated, had a different Bumblebee mold, which I thought was the superior Bumblebee mold. Take that Bumblebee figure that comes with it and do Cliff Jumper, brand new head sculpt. Then take that same mold, because the rule is the free figure that comes with the box set always has to be also sharing with one of the molds in the set. Same mold, boom, here's your Wasp. So then you got your Wasp, brand new head with that one. Then you're going to take all the other molds that Japan didn't get, that America didn't get from Japan. So you take stuff like Blackout, do the blue repaint, give it everything like that. It's going to be Whirl, sumo wrestler of the dojo of animated, pretty much. You're going to take, and this is where the story is going to come in too, you're going to take the Windblade Optimus Prime, or what was it called? Wingjet Optimus Prime. I don't remember what the trademark was at the time in Japan. And give it white color scheme and make the armor Ultra Magnus colors, and it's going to be Ultra Prime. Ultra Magnus, before he became Ultra Magnus, he's Ultra Prime. And he would have the white color scheme, but then it would give people that mold so they can mess with that mold for the first time and be part of the box set. And then you do the easy ones. You just go, okay, we're going to take Black Arachnia, give it the Elita 1 colors. You're going to take, let's see, there was just so many, like we were just throwing around ideas and stuff. But like you could take like Megatron, do Galvatron colors with it. You could take Ironhide and give him like all black, like how he looks in the movie, or like the Diaclone colors in a lot of ways. So there's so many ideas to do animated in the future. I think the primary thing, and I was proven wrong in the past when it came to this box set here, but I think but then again, mind you, that was the only way it was able to be released. Is the problem is these old molds. They're a lot more expensive to make today because of the parts used and the thickness of plastic. So to give an example, right, the Voyager breakdown and the Deluxe Jet Viacon, which came out in, I want to say 2011, 2012-ish, around that, they today just would not cut it. They would just not cut it with, like, they would be able to do it, but you'd have deluxes that are going to be like $40. They're going to just be like, yeah, here's your, like, we'll take, like you just said, like doing the Voyagers of the Seekers, right? So like we'll take Voyager, Starscream, do Thundercracker, but since the Voyager back then was $19.99, Voyagers today I believe are $24.99 in the American market. It changes all the time. We're gonna have to make it $40. You know, we're gonna have to make a $40 Voyager or something. That's just unfortunately like how it is. And because those toys are thicker, they use different kind of plastic. Like the new Transformer toys today, unfortunately, use what are called MABS, which are extremely see-through. They're a lot thinner, and they just don't hold easily. You know, see, this side's strong, this side, they're not used from the same plastic anymore. And to go back and to make those older toys using that same plastic, you're going to have to pay a premium to use regular ABS. ABS, Plastisol, PVC, you know, what's the MABS, which is not really used on anything of the old stuff, but more on the new stuff. ABS plastic. So it's a whole headache with that stuff. So to revisit it, it could happen, but it's going to be costly. It's going to be costly. I would love, look, bro, I would love more animated. You know what I mean? Like there's too much meat on the bone that was left off that still needs to be done. Derek Wyatt wants animated. The whole fandom wants animated. The only person that doesn't want animated is Hasbro, I guess. But thanks for the question. Thank you for the question. We got another super chat question from Axe to the Head. And Axe to the Head wants to know, hey Proto, what are your reactions to your collection from folks outside of the fandom, the nerd sphere? Best regards. Thank you, brother. You know what's funny? Before I moved into this new domain of madness, what the hell? Oh my God, Transformers everywhere. Before I lots of proto quotes tonight. Yeah, I know. Before I moved out here, I don't know if my sister's still in the chat. She would know more than anything. I used to live like in a basement, and it used to have this cool thing when you went down the stairs, you'd like turn a little bit, and then boom, there's the reveal of the collection. And the collection was like maybe like a fraction of what this is just on this wall. And people would always be like, whoa, that's crazy. But I was always able to get away with it because I wasn't like the typical dork. You know, like I wasn't the typical guy. I was the guy that was like, yo man, like geek culture is cool. You know, and Transformers, especially, I was lucky because Transformers had a huge hip hop kind of connection in the 90s. At the time, Wu-Tang Clan and Run DMC and a lot of those guys, they were dropping lyrics that had, I be shooting you like a gun, like Megatron, you know, so be transforming like Optimus Prime. So there was this huge kind of thing, and the Source magazine, which was a black culture rap magazine, they were running ads with Redman and Voltron. So the robot kind of stuff was kind of hip. And I went to a primarily black high school, so it was hip to be into that kind of stuff. You know, it really was. And bringing Transformers to school was like, imagine bringing Beast Wars Cheetor to high school, and the whole basketball team is all over that. Like, oh snap, yo, it's that Beasties. Beasties is what we call Beast Wars in Canada. It's that Beasties Cheetor, oh yo, and they're all like fighting over it to mess with it, like their inner child there. But I was very lucky, and so when people would come over to see the collection, if anything, it was like, yo, more stuff to play with. You know, that's the way they saw it. It was some fun stuff. I was lucky. I was very lucky with that. I mean, I should really do a scan of my old yearbook. It's kind of cringy when I look back at it now, but like I did like shout outs, and I did like Transformer kind of shout outs. I didn't shout out to Transformers, but I did shout outs like in a Transformer style. Like it was good times. I love it. I'd do it all again if I could. Stinkfist69, you can't do the super chats, brother? Just shoot one here, my friend. Shoot one here. What is your thoughts on a new non-Bayverse movie and the new actor attached to it? So I read up about the new actor, but that one I didn't want to talk about the actor yet because it hasn't been confirmed by an official source that was like a Hollywood source, so I didn't want to talk too much. I did talk about it not being attached to the Bayverse. I actually released my segment just today. And I mean, look, hey, I dig it, but it's been said before. Like when they were working on that Bumblebee movie, they were like, "Oh, it's a soft reboot. It's a reboot. It's not a reboot." So, I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, if it is, hey, that's awesome because that opens the door to you could do whatever you want. The thing that I said, and I said it in my segment too, is it's $50 million budget. That's where I'm worried though. That's a really low budget for Transformers. Like go back, like when you're done this, go and listen to my segment that just passed. I compare movies that came out recently that had $50 million budgets in this inflation of this era today, and think about Transformers compared to those movies and how we could even have anything of a movie with that kind of budget. It's going to be very difficult. Very, very difficult. Very difficult. You just give it a listen afterwards. Dreamer out there wants to know with the super chat question. I have War for Cybertron, 3 sideswipe tracks, 2 deep cover, 2 red alerts. I'm collecting sideswipes, 8 so far. How many sideswipes are there? All the best. When you mean sideswipes, do you mean the Lambor mold? The Lamborghini mold? Do you mean the character? I think you need to reiterate, my friend. You don't have to super chat it. You could just type it again. I'll try to catch it. But yeah. Collector Prime, why are you giving super chat? Ask a question, brother. Don't just give money. Ask a question, too. Donations are illegal unless you ask a question with it. Or if you give a comment. Don't just give money. What was I going to say? But going back to what you're saying, though, Dreamer out there, like, so I guess you're talking about the Lamborghinis. I mean, let me just take a look there. So you got Sideswipe, you got Tiger Tracks, you got Deep Cover, you got Red Alert. They didn't do a Clampdown yet. They did. There's the G2 one, which will probably be, you know. I think that's it, really. I think that's it. I mean, unless you really go off the rails. I mean, they always like to take that Sideswipe mold and then do a breakdown from it, but they haven't done that yet with this mold. But they've done it in the past. I know that even during the Combiner War stuff, they would still do a breakdown equals Sideswipe kind of mold share. All those Lamborghinis. All those Lamborghinis. Chappie was 49 million movie, and the robots were... Yeah, but here's the thing. With Chappie, and I was going to mention that one, too, on the list. I totally forgot to. But the problem with Chappie is that it's one mold. It's one design. And so it could be done. I mentioned it in the segment, too. It could be done, but we have to accept that we're going to have maybe 1 or 2 characters only, instead of like 5 or 6 or 12. You know, keep in mind, Bumblebee movie was 102 million to 130 million, but it had Bumblebee, it had Dropkick, it had Shatter, but then it had those crazy Cybertronian scenes. So, and all those characters could have been used. All those models. And then, of course, you know, Blitzwing and Cliffjumper and everything like that, too. I wanted more Brawn. Poor Brawn. He got hit in the shoulder again. Always Brawn getting hit in the shoulder. I wouldn't want to have more Brawn. But yeah, like, we'll see what happens with that. It's still cheap. It's still cheap in my opinion, but we'll see. And Gigawatt. That's true. Gigawatt also comes from that Sideswipe mold, although it's technically not a Lamborghini. Now it's a DeLorean. The dreaded DMC DeLorean and all that history with it. Ugh. Oh, John DeLorean. Oh, John DeLorean. Humble Beast 86 wants to know with the super chat question. Thank you, Humble Beast. Proto, do you think they will come back out with Legends, and what's next for Transformers After Kingdom? Number one, I would love it. I would love it if the Transformer Legends line continue. I love Sakamoto. Hayato Sakamoto, I like to feel, is a close friend. I love everything that he does. He is an amazing human being. He's hilarious. We've had BotCon dinners together. I love that guy, and I wish him forever to keep doing the mangas and the stuff like he's doing those Takara Tomy Mall mangas that we've been reading thus far. I've been translating them on the Discord for people. I love those to death. They are so great. They are so great. I want him to continue doing the Legend stuff. It's just a matter if they want to. He's too talented to not stop, though. So I think we'll see more of stuff that's Legends related in the future. It's just recently Hasbro has been wanting to do synergy with Takara, where it's like, hey, we're doing this. We want the same thing for Japan, so we don't have to make 2 different packaging and color schemes. At least that's what I think, you know. As your second question, what is next for Transformers After Kingdom? Well, my friend, it all depends on what success is. If those Beast stuff sells extremely well, that's going to be the future. If it doesn't sell well, we're going to go to something else. Maybe some Unicron trilogy, maybe some old school G1 Japan, perhaps. We shall see. It really depends on success. The one thing with Hasbro is if it does well, ride it out until the wheels fall off. If it doesn't do well, pivot and go in the other direction. I have a segment that's going to be coming up in the future where I talk about when they've had to pivot, when stuff didn't do well. The Beast era being one of the best examples of them, pivoting to that. But we will see when that time comes. But thank you for the questions, Humble Beast. 89. Love 89. Best year of Transformers for me. Princeton Falex 59 says Dairy Con is next week. Man, I want to go to Dairy Con. Is it actually physically happening, or is it just going to be an online convention? I've always said this for years. I think I said in the last segment, the last live stream. I've always felt the back in the day, the Triforce of Transformer conventions was TFCon, BotCon, and DairyCon. And if you could do all three of those shows in a year, that was the hat trick. Because DairyCon, while it's not a big show, it looks like it's so comfy. It looks so Kino, I guess is the best way to put it. It looks like it's such a comfy convention. It looks like how BotCon and TFCon was back in the day, when you could just like chill in the lobby and there's maybe only 12 people and you could just have a good time, and the voice actor could come chill too, and they're not going to get mobbed by 70 people. Like, those are like the early TFCon years and the early BotCon years, and DairyCon seems to still have that. And I just love their exclusives. I actually have their Minerva exclusive. I have their Minerva exclusive and their postcard from that year, because when they did a Minerva Spy Changer, I was like, I gotta have that. I gotta have that exclusive. So I went out of my way to grab it, and it looks great. They took the jazz from the, I think it was the jazz they took. Was it the jazz? Yeah, I think it was the jazz. They took the jazz from the Spy Changers and they painted it into Minerva. I never opened it. I still have it in the poly bag. I'm looking at it right now. It was so cool. Check their website. If you go to DairyCon's website, they have a list of all their past exclusives, and they're just amazing. And they're clever too. Some of them are funny. They'll do like Action Master Ravage, and it's just a tape cassette. Doesn't transform. It's an Action Master Ravage. They did a lot of fun stuff. I love DairyCon. One day I would like to go there, and I would like to go down there and like do a panel for them or something. I'll do like a crazy panel, and then like, I don't know, if they have the space, maybe I'll have a little booth table and I could sell some cool stuff too. So I'd like, pad out the dealer room. I'd love to do that one day. One day when the world is back to normal, whenever that happens, when the world returns back to normal in 2025. God, I hope it's not 2025. But when the world returns back to normal, I'd love to do that for sure. Hey, Proto, what happened to BotCon in your thoughts? Nothing happened to BotCon. What happened was, the true story is Hasbro happened. The true story is episode 7 happened. Long story short, episode 7 came out, Star Wars. Hasbro's like, okay, well, when we did episode 1, we thought the toy sales would be like this, except the toy sales were like this, and it did so bad that it completely fractured our Kenner division, and the episode 1 Redbacks did so badly that, it was really bad. So when episode 7 was going to come out, they were like, okay, we all remember what happened last time. And last time people were hungry for Star Wars with episode 1 because of what was in between. Now we're in a saturated market, and the toys they were expecting like this, not this, and it went to this. And they went, oh, we made a lot of money. Oh, and regardless of what you think of the sequel trilogy, I'm just saying like toy sales for that first movie. So the sales were so good that they, Force Friday and all of that they did, that they went, oh, I think we need to really rethink our brands. And the first thing they did is they pulled back all their brands. They were licensing Transformers to Fun Publication and G.I. Joe. And then they're like, we're going to do our own convention, HasCon. And Larry's in the chat here, and he was with me at HasCon. It was fun with friends, but it is not fun if you're alone, because it was not a convention for someone who has nothing to do. If you don't have friends to hang out with, it is a boring convention. So that's what happened to BotCon. It just got taken away from them. But we'll see what happens. BotCon is now doing stuff independently, and I'm pretty sure that we would have we would have seen probably the return of Bakan this year or last year if it wasn't for the spooky big V that happened. So we'll see what happens in the future. Again, when the world returns back to normal, that conversation will be had, and we'll be able to really enjoy it and understand it. Hey, Proto, if you have Bumblebee in Studio Series 86 line, which one? Do you think they just repack the Walmart Netflix exclusive, or do we get a new mold? Which one, brother? If you're referring to the Netflix exclusive one. Oh, okay, I know. I see. I get it. Studio Series 86. Honestly, done. I would prefer it if they did a brand new mold, because as much as that Studio Series 86 one is good, I still think it could be better. And you want screen accuracy. If they did take that Studio Series 86 mold, excuse me, that Netflix one, and made it a Studio Series 86 toy, I would want the proper yellow, because it's not that mustard yellow that they used. I got it working and I don't have another. Thanks for your time and info. Keep it thick, Proto Man. I don't think I'm thick. I'm actually quite well-toned, actually. Can't even show it, but no problem, Stinkfist69. Thank you for being a supporter and all the cool super chats that I get from all you crazy dudes. I love you guys. Where we at here? Where we at? Hey, Proto, if there was a thing, how rare would be Studio Series 86 Blaster and Perceptor be? I don't think he would be rare. I think it's actually something that will probably happen. In my opinion, that would be like the next wave that would make sense. Think about it. Like, you have like the backgrounds, like the little backgrounds for the Studio Series 86 cardboard. You could have like Blaster with his lookout, kind of thing where he shoots with his thing and his blaster, no pun intended. And because of those two characters, how they share a scene together, look out, Blaster, save yourself, or run, Blaster, save yourself, excuse me, bite my tongue. I could see them being sold at the same time. Blaster I could see being done as a Voyager scale, Perceptor as a deluxe, and then his tape cassettes in 2-packs, or maybe a 4-pack even as a deluxe or a Voyager. I don't know how they'd want to price it, because Hasbro, they're crazy. So but the point is, I could totally see that, and people would love that. Blaster, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? People like a really 1-for-1, really show accurate Blaster toy, even before that of something of a masterpiece. People would dig that like crazy. They would love it. Love it, love it, love it. Where are we at here? Hey, Proto, so where can someone that doesn't know Japanese enjoy Beast Wars 2nd and Beast Wars Neo? I don't want to share the links because it's technically illegal to share the links, but if you look online, those episodes are available to find. If you're part of my Patreon and my Discord, all that stuff is readily available and easy to find. But publicly, it is not allowed to be shared, unfortunately, because it's technically stuff that Shout Factory one day would probably, although Shout Factory I think lost the license for Transformers, but Hasbro would one day want a license to a DVD and or Blu-ray company to translate and put out there. Although I hope they'll do a better job than they did with their Takara box set. Chillwave wants to know, how does age work in Transformers? Like young Alpha Trion, old Alpha Trion, how Wheelie is a kid? Well, it's hard to figure out stuff like that, especially when it's the old 80s cartoon. I mean, Cup is considered old, but how old is Cup compared to, let's say, Optimus Prime? If Optimus Prime was in sleep for like 4 million years and Cup is considered old, how old is Cup? Is Cup like really old? And I know that the Bakan comics tried to explain that he went into like a cryo sleep and he stayed awake during it and all that stuff, but I don't know. There's all kinds of weird ways to explain that. The kid from the kid of Quintessa, aka Wheelie. I think that, look at even someone like Hot Rod, my favorite character. He's considered like a turbo revving young punk. How old is Hot Rod? Maybe he just turned 16. Maybe he's 18. Judd Nelson was playing a 16-year-old in high school in Breakfast Club around that time. Maybe he was channeling that, you know. So who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Hey Proto, big on TF music fan, like the back in the day with TF Cog and the Jimbo early ripped 80s cartoon scores. Anyways, wondering if the music history of Transformers Japanese 5 original will ever get remastered. I actually have that. Set, that 5-disc set. What sucks about that set, it's actually not complete of the Japanese stuff. It's missing Transformer Zone stuff on it and some of Transformer Victory. But it's still a great set. Has some really good music. All the Master Force stuff is there. Master Force had amazing music. I would love to see it remastered, maybe just even digitally for people, but let's just say I have a huge hard drive filled with all of that stuff. every piece of Transformer music ever. Ever. Love Transformer music. Hono no Overdrive is still my favorite Transformer theme of all time. Dear Proto, how would you introduce Toxitron into Prime? Well, I mean, considering that, you know, you have the Derek Wyatt way of how he introduced Toxitron, which is pretty much Bizarro Optimus Prime. And then you have the G2 way that Toxitron was originally intended, which was just an evil Optimus Prime, long before we had Black Convoy. So I would probably go the Derek Wyatt route. Just because, you know, evil Optimus Primes are so cliche, but we never really had a Bizarro Prime in animated kind of continuity. So, and by animated, I mean animation, not the show. So I would dig that. I'd dig it. That's how I'd do it. Have a stupid Prime. Stupid but strong. Like Fakor or Faker. Excuse me, Fakor. He-Man. Proto, the age of Transformers could be akin to the age of steam engines. Well, steam engines haven't been around for millions of years, so I don't know if we could make that connection, really. Where we at? Hey, Proto, can you explain more about the character Lyzak and Deathsaurus' wife? I could even reach for it if you want. So for people who aren't aware, let's just pull it up for a moment. So Transformers Victory had a little bit of a different continuity compared to its Japanese animation counterpart, and it introduced to us the female Decepticons. Come on. There we go. Of Lyzak and Deathsaurus' wife. And supposedly Deathsaurus and his gigantic base was actually a giant grounds to protect all his children and stuff. Quite the left turn at the end of the manga. It was the very final chapter of Transformers Victory's manga. Not to mention, you know, what do you call it? Yuki-kun and his sister being involved, and she was a cosplayer. So a lot of wacky stuff going on with that manga. But there's not much really more to say about the character. I know Lyzak was used in a limited capacity in the Wings universe of Bakon, and technically they retconned the Lyozak exclusive figure that comes with that 2009 box set as Lyzak. So technically you have a Lyzak figure if you get the Bakon exclusive, which uses the, I could reach for it over there, but it's the Starscream mold. Where is he? I'm trying to see him pointing right there. There's the Starscream mold. So it uses that Energon Starscream mold. Female Deathsaurus, unfortunately, his wife never got a toy. Never got much explanation. Never really made, not to my knowledge, in another continuity, unless Sakamoto probably put it in the background of his Rat Trap stuff. But that's probably it, to my knowledge. I gotta, hold on, let me log into the wiki from my brain. Because actually, if you didn't know, see this cord here? This cord is attached to me, and the entire wiki actually comes from here. The wiki's actually my brain. But wait, no, hold on. The wiki's filled with mistakes. Okay, I'm not the wiki. Forget it. I'm not the wiki. The wiki's garbage. Hey, Proto, how do you watch the Japanese Headmaster Master for the Victory? How do you find the show? I would, number one, I would suggest do not watch the Shout Factory versions. The subtitles on those are freaking terrible. They're very much incorrect. If you could find it, TV Nihon and Wolfpack Productions, they were the guys who did the very first subtitles. Lonely Gamer and a whole bunch of people, Hydra, helped with those subtitles. And those are the most accurate subtitles you could possibly get of the show. Find those online through dubious means and download them through dubious means. And it rhymes with horrent. Dear Proto, do you think a repaint of the new Rodimus with a new head as Elita 1 would work? Do you think if a repaint of the new Rodimus, I guess you're referring to the Commander class, with an Elita 1 head would work? You know what? I see where you're getting at, because Elita 1 has that kind of, like, the alt mode could be used as her alt mode from the show back in the day, like, because it was a truck, but it was not a truck. I see where you're getting at with that, but the body would be kind of weird, I guess. You know, like, even like when they did that Elita 1 using like that jet mode one, like where she was thick, so to speak, like that was good because it still had that like female shape and proportion to it. And I don't know. That's just my call. I think it would look weird on Roddy. I mean, you know what's funny? Back in the day, before we had any official RC figures, I remember, this is a shout out to my old Gundam model kit store back in the day, Sci-Fi Anime, still around still. At the time, they were doing the reissue of G1 Hot Rod, like the very first reissue of it, which was called Rodimus Major, if I remember correctly. And he got a bunch of them from Toys R Us, and he wanted to repaint one pink and call it RC. And that would have been like, you know, at a time when there was no RC figures at all, outside of like a little PVC. Send me, Sean McTaggart, send me that Digibash. I'd like to see it then. Send it to me on, I guess, Twitter would probably be the best way. I'd like to see it because I'm curious. Maybe it is good. Maybe, I don't know. I just can't picture it. I don't know. It would be cool though. She come with the sword of Primus. Repaint that. Maybe give it like red. Be kind of cool. Match her color scheme. The red, pink, white kind of accent. Look really cool. Proto, where are we? I saw another one here. Dear Proto, okay, I saw that one already. Man, we're only 20 minutes left. Jeez, the time flew today, man. Man, did the time fly today. Hey, Proto, do you think the War for Cybertron Netflix series should have its own proper intro, 30 seconds, with a new variation of the TF theme song? Every time they have to use that Transformer theme song, a certain someone gets a royalty check. I think the husband and wife duo that did the original G1 theme, they always get a royalty check. So it's a lot easier for them to not do that and just do something orchestral. So that's the primary reason why you don't see the TF theme used in a lot of stuff. Let's just say someone did it and they get money, and Hasbro wants to not have to. In case you haven't noticed, the Netflix War for Cybertron series are already kind of done on the cheap. So since they're already kind of done on the cheap, I don't think they want to have to pay more than they've already had to. Looking for it. It wasn't War for Cybertron Roddy. It was a third-party Roddy. Oh, which one? Oh, was it the Mastermind Creations IDW one? Because it sure as heck wasn't the Carrie. Carrie, for sure it wouldn't have been. Carrie is a beefy, Obari Studio Ox Rodimus, so it definitely wasn't that one. The wiki is also filled with terrible jokes. The wiki is filled with terrible everything. Look, I love a lot of the guys on the wiki. I love Monzo. Monzo's a good friend. But the wiki is a goddamn mess. It really is. It really is. I don't like that the wiki really has a negative connotation towards the Japanese history of Transformers, considering it makes literally 50% of the franchise. And ignoring that is faux pas, my friends. But let the wiki be the wiki. At the end of the day, it's a bunch of people updating that wiki, working for free, so someone else, you know who, makes a lot of money. So enjoy that free labor. Enjoy. You taste that? Taste that free labor? That's some good free labor. Make some good money off of those ads. Would you like, Pray Proto, would you like an update of the Autobot brothers from Robots in Disguise 2001, aka Car Robots. Of course I would. I would love a new Speedbreaker. I would love a new Speedbreaker. I mean, if we got like a new Mach Alert, aka Prowl, I mean, we've had so many Lambos, so that wouldn't be too much of a new thing. But Speedbreaker, aka Sideburn, and X-Brawn, aka Wild Ride, I'd love to see those guys. Especially Wild Ride, because he had those like, he had like the one big beefy arm and then like the weapons arm. I'd really like to see that updated. Which wiki? The TF wiki. Oh, because there's several. TF wiki itself. TF wiki. That one is quite the cluster. Great people. There's some great people that work there and update stuff. Don't get me wrong, especially some of the big head honchos there. But just my own personal opinion, I ain't gonna lie to you guys. Not exactly the best source for information. Not exactly. A lot of contradictions and stuff that they just don't want to agree with. And a lot of stuff that has been trolling too. If they only knew. If they only knew. But anyways, we have 15 minutes left. Who writes the jokes? I don't know. Definitely not anyone funny, that's for sure. Proto, will we ever get an official Masterpiece Victory Leo for Masterpiece Starsaber? You know what? Let's put it this way. The longer they wait to do it, the more if there is a gap between the original release. So the only way I could see it happening, and this is the problem, is if they did a Victory Leo, they'd have to reissue Starsaber again just to give it synergy. In the same way that, you know, we had Lambor, aka Sideswipe, and then there was a lot of time before they did Sunstreaker. And when they did Sunstreaker, they reissued Lambor so that those two could be out together again. But the thing is, Lambor was a cheap product. And I don't mean cheap as in bad. I mean cheap as in he was like those $50 masterpieces back in the day. Like those first, you know, cars of the Shogo Hasui era of design. And it's just... I'll answer my sister's question in a moment because she asked a good one. Anyways, but getting back to what you're saying, so if we did get a Victory Leo, they'd have to reissue Starsaber, but Starsaber was a big mofo. He's the biggest of all the masterpieces of Transformers. So would they want to re-release Starsaber, considering how expensive he would be, and then Victory Leo would be expensive too? I don't know. They kind of test run the idea. When they did the Masterpiece Brave line, which is also Takara, they did Brave X Kaiser, and then they did Dragon Kaiser, which was a separate one, and they sold terribly. Now, granted, maybe they sold terribly because they were Brave. I don't know. Brave is in the series. I don't know. I love them. I have them. There he is right there with Starsaber. Bada boom, you know. But the point is that, like... they test the market a little bit with combiner masterpieces, and they didn't really do well. I don't know, maybe it's still possible, but if they do Victory Leo, they have to release Starsaber again, because how many people, what is it now, like 7 years later, will still have a Starsaber? Either kept one or did one, you know, or you know, could get one in the market. They'd have to like give people that opportunity. So answering Annie's question, if Mocha was a Beast Wars figure, who would it be? Mocha is my sister's dog, which is a German Shepherd, which luckily enough, the only Transformer toy that turns into a legitimate dog was a German Shepherd, and it is called K9. Google Beast Wars K9, and you will see a German Shepherd Transformer. And K9 is awesome because K9 and Wolfang, his brother, are two of the best Beast Wars non-show character toys. Mitch Santona wants to know, what are the odds of a Masterpiece TF Prime figure happening? Say a proper knockout figure. Well, usually what they want to do is when they go off of Generation 1, they're going to want to do leaders first. So it's like 3 layers here. So it's like, okay, we're going to do Transformers Prime as a masterpiece. We're obviously going to do Prime first. And then if Prime sells well, then they'll do Knockout. In all honesty, Mitch, you're more better off seeing number 1 Knockout in the more off-kilter brands Again, the rumor is that he's going to be in Transformers RED. Granted, it's not a transforming figure line, but there's rumors that he'll be in that. Or alternatively, one day he might get some kind of Generations figure update. But will he be accurate to how his original model was? Unfortunately not. And he's one of those characters that, while he had multiple figures, my Prime stuff's too low, unfortunately, so my camera can't show it. But, you know, he had a few Prime figures, but none of them really encapsulated how he looked in the show because he was a deluxe toy and the budget just wasn't there to match the animation model. But at the end of the day, you know, I get what you're saying, though. Like, it was something that if it was a masterpiece price point in that budget, it could totally happen. But it's a matter of would it happen? And it's already, like, difficult to get, you know, Beast Wars kind of, like, masterpieces to, like, be finished. To get a villain character in a Japanese market for a show that didn't do well. And that's the big thing, is that Transformers Prime didn't do well in Japan. It did actually quite horrible, and its ratings were beaten by another transforming robot line. Ignore the anime girl there, but it's Gyro Zetter. You can barely see this is my Gyro Zetter display, and there's more Gyro Zetter stuff up there. But Gyro Zetter came out the same year as Transformers Prime, and it absolutely destroyed Transformer Prime in the ratings. It didn't do well, Transformers Prime. I don't know why. Maybe because they did it like Beast Wars, where it had a different kind of dub. But that Japanese market doesn't like Transformers Prime as some of the other stuff. So that's a big thing, too, that you have to consider. As it stands right now, Mitch, look at Transformers RED. That's where you got to look for it. We got a super chat question, gold, from Stinkfist69. 69. And Stinkfist69 wants to know, did you get anything this new past week? Love an update of Beast Wars Beast Machine show. I think it would be awesome to get a new Generations hooked and please everyone that's already a fan. I'm lost with this question. I am totally lost. I would love for an updated Beast Wars Beast Machine show. Well, yeah, I would love that too. I would love that 100%. And so hopefully, I mean, I know I'm going to be disappointed, but hopefully the Kingdom Netflix series will give us even just a slither of that. Even just a small slither of that. I'd be happy. Why do you have an almost naked anime girl? So, Gyro Zetter had a character in the show that was the head, I guess we'll call it navigator. And so being a completist, I had to get every figure from the line. There's all the Gyro Zetter Deluxe figures, which are hiding behind my monitor here. Then there's the minifigures and the playset, and then you got more of the minifigures, and then you got the boxes and everything. Kind of like if we look over here, it's Kiss Play. And there's Atari and Panty Atari and all the other figures. Hey, man. Naked anime girl or not, if it's the Transformer brand, I gotta have it. You know? I got a Transformer Super Link Wonderfest exclusive Misha figure with squishy boobs. No joke. In the display over there. Maybe I'll show you guys one day in the obscureness. But as I was going to say before, like, you know, I would love Beast Wars. Beast Wars to get I would love it to get a new series just because it's so great. But this is the caveat. I want all my old Beast Wars voice actors. Scott McNeil, David Kay, Gary Chalk, Ian Corlett, Don Brown, Kevin Michael Richardson. No, not Kevin Michael Richardson. He was not from Beast Wars. I'm thinking of someone else. You know, point being, I want my old cast. You know, Venus. I want Venus back to get Venus back for Black Arachnia. All these people are still active voice actors. None of them are retired. You know? I think actually the voice actress for AirRaiser is recently retired. But everyone else, you know? I would want more of that. What's his name, too? Alex Willow. You know? Dude is an old dude, but he is still spry, man. Still spry. I actually prefer Japanese arachnid over original. Yeah, supposedly she had a interesting little boy fetish from what I heard in that version. Hey Proto, why is the gun on Megatron used to shoot Optimus in the 86 movie referred to as Blitzwing gun by some people in the fandom? You know what's funny? Like, some people call it Blitzwing's gun. Other people have said that it's one version of Astrotrain's gun. Because Astrotrain in the show, his gun, even though his actual toy has his gun is like much larger, but in the show he has a smaller gun. So some people have said that it's Astrotrain's gun. You know, so it is what it is. Air-Razor deserved better. Air-Razor's a cool character. Again, read the Beast Wars Japanese manga and you get a cool version of Air-Razor done in anime style. Alex, it's an amazing figure. One day I'll show you guys. It's unfortunately behind. It's in the. I have a glass case of Wonderfest exclusives, so I kind of keep them all there, and my third-party stuff. One day I'll bring it on the show. One day. If you one day when you finally super chat. I don't know. Hey Proto, thoughts on TFU? TFU is ran by Anthony Fitz, I think it is, or whatever, who's a pretty cool dude, and a lot of images on tfu.info are from my personal collection. If you actually go into the credits section of tfu.info, you see this face right here. Well, not this face, but this name in there, because a lot of the rare stuff in that collection are from me. A lot of them. So I like to use that one as a resource, I guess, for parts because I helped with it. I guess. I don't know. It's a good website. Good people there, too. Good guys. Where are we at here? Hey, Proto, do you think your close family members think your addiction to collection have accumulated over the past 30 years? Any head shaking, palm to the face, regrets, anything? Love your vids, bro. I'll tell you this right now, Nick. No, because my father is a toy collector. And I actually, if you go on YouTube and type Proto Man Father's Day Special, I think it's called, I did a segment where I show my father and his toy collection. So, no, that never happened because I had a father who is just as much of an addicted toy collector and probably spends more money than even me on toys still to this day. My sister's in the chat. She could confirm that. Big time. So, either way, never happened. I was lucky because I went to a school where everyone thought it was cool. I had family members that supported it. It always worked out, yo. Always worked out. My dad helped build these displays because it was his jam, yo. Did you get any new figures this past week? No, I didn't, actually. The only thing that I got, Stinkfist, was the Makuta. So that's the only thing, but that's not Transformers. It's almost Transformers. But that's the only thing I got. And it wasn't even something I went out and bought. It was a friend's collection. Nice, beautiful, rare Bionicle. Beautiful Bionicle. If you showed Mega Empress to someone who knows very little about Transformers, I think Megatron is in touch with his feminine side. Could be. With a nice big sword. Because I have her holding a big sword with her whole crew together. I love that. I love that box set. I love that box set. When I first saw that box set, it was like day one purchase. Love it. That is Sakamoto to the extreme. Everything that Sakamoto does, that's amazing. With one swipe, he created 5 new female characters. You know? Love it. Love it, love it, love it. We have 2 minutes left. Oh my god. We have 2 minutes left. Man. Jeez, did we fly today? What happened? What happened today? Man, did we go quickly today. That is nuts. It's been fun. We'll take 1 or 2 more questions and then we'll call it a night. Holy moly. Already? Already been 2 hours? Jeez. Craziness. But yeah. So again, might as well just post the reminders. Once again, Symbiote Studios was our sponsor this evening. did a really good job giving us a cool t-shirt. Really cool t-shirts. Be sure to check out their stuff, symbiotestudios.com, with all their cool stuff. Let's do one more. Proto, would you like a Megatronia version of Dust Up, or would you like to include a sixth member? I would just like all of those characters to get revisited again with new toys. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. That'd be really, really cool. I mean, I really like all those Sakamoto original creations are always really fun. Always really fun. But that's it, more or less. All right, guys, just want to say thank you for everyone. If you want to support the podcast, more or less. Actually, I'll take one more question. I'll take Silver Gamer's question, then we'll call it a day. Do you think the mainline TFs will reach masterpiece prices? Never. Because I don't think any distributor or retail would want to carry something that has masterpiece prices. Already, stuff like Leader Class and Titan Class and Commander are already making them go, oof. So that would be too crazy. Either way, as I was saying, thanks again for everyone who came by. If you want to support the podcast, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/Protoman. Link in the description below. If you want to support the podcast, join us. We have all kinds of cool tiers. You can come join us on our Discord. A lot of people here today are from the Discord, where we chat about Transformers and we keep it real like 100. We always keep it real. Always got to keep it 100. Hope you guys had a good time tonight. As always, thank you everyone for coming. Thanks for the sponsor, Symbiote Studios and Hasbro, for giving us our cool product, our pins, our t-shirts, and where he's out of shot, and our plush. Screamer, what are you doing over there, brother? Thanks again for everything, guys. Thanks again for the super chats. And as always, like I say, roll. Oh, we got one more super chat. All right, one more, and then we're going to do the roll. Speaking of Perceptor, why do you think he is not yet part of the War for Cybertron Netflix series? He's a pretty predominant figure in G1 because of trademarks. Primary reason is they do a character, and then they want to wait 2 or 3 years before they do it again for a trademark collector prime. Chances are we'll probably see Perceptor really soon because his trademark is up this year going into next year. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you for the super chat at the last second. All right, let's try this again. As always, people, roll out.